Hey,
Perfect.
Sean. Happy New Year to you. Um,
Happy New Year.
Thank you. What would you like to see out of Jarrett Stidham? What would you like to see improve upon against Las Vegas? And what would you like to see your offensive operation sort of do to finish the season on a high note?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, first off, let's do this without any assumptions. The depth at that position going into this game coming up will be the same with Jared as the starter and Russ as the two. And I appreciate the question. I think number one, our job is to score, and so we had opportunities in the tight red yesterday. That's certainly down on the 1 yard line. So I think that's the first thing. I thought Jared did a good job after seeing the tape with his decisions, the ball security, all those things that you want to see from that position. The big play to LJ was a heck of a play by LJ. Protection was good. So a lot of positives to build off of.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Coach. You said that you came here to make some tough decisions. I was wondering if last week the whole quarterback thing, if that was maybe one of the, if not the toughest decision of your career, really. And how do you think your players and coaches responded?
Yeah, I think everyone has responded well. I mean, it's our job. It's the NFL. It's not. Sometimes when you're in this position, those are tough decisions. Trying to figure out where it would stack or rank, I'm not sure. I think always the most difficult decisions, in my opinion, are ones where you end up uh, not demoting a player or a player ends up playing less, but it always the ones that I always remember are the ones where you're parting ways with a player you've been with a long time. Back to the initial question, though, I think look, this team's been resilient. They've been tough. We battled through adversity, and so I liked how the response was last week.
Go ahead, Nick. Okay, we'll come back to Nick. We'll go to Eric Dalala. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, coach, one drive in particular right before halftime. I know that the kick wasn't, it didn't end up being good, but to move, I think 54 yards there in 24 seconds. Could you just take me through what you saw on that drive and what you thought about Jarrett kind of guiding the team?
Yeah. So every once in a while, at the end of the half, you get one of these like pickle positions, and what I mean by that is there's limited time. It's in your own end. We've all seen multiple mistakes made at the end of halves. Happened to us in Miami, where you're starting the second half with the ball, and yet a lot of it is if it's south of 20 seconds, you might say we're taking a knee. But so we started to drive with the screen, got a little momentum there. And so it's kind of one of those you're dipping your toes in the water a little bit just to see if you can come off your own end and get something conservatively, get a drive going, and credit Samaje and the rest of those guys as well as Jared. And so then you get moving with it. You have another play, and then pretty soon you're in field goal range. That was I thought that was significant. We didn't make the field goal, but nonetheless, practicing those scenarios because I've been in those where a lot of times where depending on how the game is unfolding, you might take a different approach, but you're always looking closely at where the clock is, how many timeouts do we have, and you're wanting to be smart.
Go ahead, Parker.
Hey, Sean, I know you don't obviously measure pass rush production only in sacks, but Cooper's up to 8.5 now. He's had a nice year. And obviously you guys went sort of in the youth movement with a youth movement earlier in the season. So I'm just wondering what you've seen, A, out of him in particular, and then B, sort of out of that young core that you have on the edge.
He's playing well. We did not go in a youth movement. It just so happened to look that way. We just moved on from some other players. but I think he's playing well. You know, it's real important to him. I would say he's extremely physical. You know, he's kind of an edge setter. And you kind of know what you're getting from him week to week, and that's a very valuable trait.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Sean, Jaleel McLaughlin has had double-digit touches the last couple of games. What did you see from him yesterday, and how is your vision for him evolving over what he's done this year?
It's a great question. I think our vision continues to grow a little bit because he continues to earn additional touches. The thing he and I spend a lot of time on, and his coach does a great job, but periodically he'll come up and he wants to expand his role as a receiver in that, if you will, joker category. And so he's certainly eager. You know, I think, man, there's a unique, not physicality, but I would say physicality, but also a unique hard to hit trait he has. You don't see him take hard hits. He's very sudden, and he's earned those touches.
Go ahead, Troy. Okay, we'll come back to Troy. We'll go to Zach Stevens. Go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Coach, you've ended the team and you have ended a lot of streaks this year. Would it be important at all to snap a 7-game losing streak to the Raiders this week to end the season?
Yeah, I don't even know that I was aware that we had lost that many games to Las Vegas and Oakland or what have you. I think what would be important for us is to get to our 9th win, and I'm sure that's important for them as well. So this is a little bit more focus on us inward, and you know, and I think that element is real important.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Coach, I was wondering, do you have an update in regard to Delarian Turner-Yell and Mike McGlinchey?
Yeah, right now, Mike's news is better. Delarian Turner-Yell has an ACL. He's going to be out and put on IR. Mike's is a rib. I won't get into the details, but you know, we're a lot more optimistic about him.
Go ahead, Darren.
Well, Coach, under that vein, and seeing the Dolphins see Bradley Chubb in a 30, they were losing by 30 when he tore his ACL. And I know this is tricky, and you've kind of touched upon it about tough decisions like in field position. I'm assuming that is tricky here too, to balance things out about who plays, who doesn't play. So I'm curious what your philosophy is in a game that, yeah, it's important to get your 9th win, but the outcome of the season.
It's not tricky at all. I respect the question. It's not tricky at all. And I didn't see the end of. Here's the thing that I would say. On game day, there aren't enough players to rest everyone when the lead is, or the game is decided. There just isn't. And so in college there is. And so now, I think having talked about what happened with Miami has nothing to do with our topic. Our topic, I think, is what I'm hearing you say. Do we approach it differently now? And absolutely not. We do everything in our power to win this game. That it's that important. From who's playing quarterback to who's starting at the offensive line to who's starting on defense. And it's that simple. I appreciate the question, though.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, another question on Steady. How much did it help getting him ready that he does have 5 years of NFL experience, but then again, he hadn't thrown a pass this season. So maybe how much of the playbook did you use in yesterday's game with him?
Yeah, well, the playbook is kind of this nebulous term. I mean, I say that what's most important is the game plan playbook, you know, that can vary a little bit week to week based on the opponent. But the playbook per se is, you know, how we call things. These are schemes. There's tweaks when you get into regular game planning. I do think his experience helped. I'm quite sure those 2 regular season games he played for Vegas helped last year. You know, there's a confidence about him. He played with that kind of poise, and I think you felt that on the field. So I think collectively those things all, you know, I said this yesterday after the game. You didn't feel like you were working with somebody who was a younger player. You felt like you were working with somebody that had experience and was very confident.
Go ahead, Eric Goodman.
Sean, I want to go off a couple of things that you said last week. You said that by replacing Russell, you were looking for a spark. And when talking about the offense, you said that it was average to below average overall. Did you see improvement in the offense from average to below average? And did you get that spark from Jarrett you were hoping for?
Yeah, listen, fair question. I think this, in the comments last week were really a sum total of what, 15 games. And yet there were some things I was real encouraged about yesterday. Certainly, if we're going to measure it week by week, you'd say, man, we scored under 20 points. That wasn't enough. We missed out on opportunities in the red zone. But we were safe with the football. Certainly we look forward to this next game, but that was a stretch. That was a long stretch of 15 weeks where we'd seen a very similar pattern. I think that'll change. And I made the decision with the hopes that that's going to help bring change. There's no guarantee that does, but in the meantime, it's something that I felt was necessary.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Sean, I'm just curious if in your vision for Jarrett, can how he played Sunday and in the finale influence you about what you think of him for next year?
Well, I think that's the case with every player, right? I mean, we're constantly evaluating how they play, and then it would definitely carry over to how we feel about next year relative to their role. But the answer would be yes. I mean, I think these are important snaps and games for him.
Go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, Sean, I know you've held out hope all year about Greg Dulcich. And I'm wondering, what does he need to do in the offseason to sort of salvage his career in 2024?
Well, it's a gret question. It's something that, our medical people and everyone involved are working hard on. Getting to that proper weight and the strength and all the things that allow him to stay healthy. I'm sure he's a tremendous worker, so he's going to do whatever it takes. And, we'll just have to wait. But yeah, we kind of go from there. One more question.
Go ahead, Nick. Do you have one? Okay. I don't think Nick has one.
All
So-
good. We're good.
Okay.
Thanks.